Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of Daily Crypto News, and a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Sit around and enjoy. First of all, the XRP lawsuit. What does the opposition to Hinman's deposition say about the SEC? This article, guys, is really interesting if you are involved in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, or if you are an XRP holder, as one of the most interesting subjects of right now is William Hinman, one of the former SEC members, being questioned by Ripple. And to save you guys as much time as possible, the conclusion is that a really famous, I'm going to call it, lawyer on YouTube right now, Jeremy Hogan, has actually stated before that he thinks that the judge will allow the deposition of this former SEC director for Ripple in the XRP lawsuit. So what that basically results to is that he will be questioned, and we are all pretty excited about that. By the way, name spelt wrong, I believe. But whatever. We are all pretty excited about that because supposedly this man knows more than he's been telling, and this man has let go of a couple of statements which are definitely quite controversial regarding the status of Ether, regarding the status of, I guess, cryptocurrencies as a whole, and people just want to know exactly what his thoughts were and why, for example, the SEC in all these years has never come to an official conclusion on Ethereum because, again, that's what he said. So that's going to be really interesting. Then I saw this article. I instantly wanted to make a video about it. Fiat is a fraud. Buy Bitcoin, says billionaire Salinas. Now, I read the article, pretty short, but pretty damn stupid in my opinion, kinda. It comes down to this conclusion. It's a short article, 60-second read, but the main point is, how can you trust a reserve currency that is inflationary where one medium-sized country gets to print more of it purely for itself? The fiat fraud is inherent to the fiat system, and we can see it today in the USA. Monetary issuance went to the moon. You understand? The dollar as hard money is a joke. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has a fixed 21 million limit, and that is key, he said. So, Razor also said not necessary in this case, but as many example of today's tendencies, every theft or son of a thief who was lucky to be in the time and in place to make millions or billions, now talking what you must do. Every first million in 9 out of 10 cases has own skeleton. Rich golden boys and girls spending their daddy millions without thinking, what a bag of their family, yada yada. The point being, two parts, right? One, this man got rich some way, shape, or form too. That's what a lot of people actually like to kind of bring up here. And a billionaire telling you to buy something is usually only for self-gain, and that's actually what the fiat game is. You might call it out to be a self-gain system, but inherently, that's what most of these guys do. That's what most of these guys are here for anyway. A lot of people say, well, crypto is not a scam, but most crypto projects out there are not made to really better the world, but are made to enrich some people. You might say that's not the truth, but it really is. If these guys really got no money whatsoever, wouldn't have done it. And you really can't find that many guys in the crypto space who don't take a good portion for themselves. And it's also, of course, compensation for your work. And the United States, in some way, shape, or form, also takes compensation for what they do in terms of the Federal Reserve, I guess. Is it fair? No, but the world is not fair. And so if you don't accept it, what can you do about it, right? And fiat, not necessarily a fraud, but just a skewed system. Same thing for the banking, however. Banking system is extremely skewed. Right now, you have to pay to keep your money on a bank who's going to lend it out and make some money on that. You might say, oh, but they have negative rates. Well, they don't have to get the money anywhere. They don't have to lend out the money if they don't want to, theoretically speaking, but they want to. And so, if you have a negative rate, that's literally the most screwed up system in the world, because we all know, I've explained this to you guys before, if you're ever in a negative interest rate scenario, it is nearly impossible to get out of it, because if your economy is doing bad, you can't lower them anymore. If the economy is going good, well, you don't want to make them higher to make your economy go worse, right? It just depends. Theoretically speaking, you can just up it at one point or another, but that's so difficult because it incentivizes less spending and whatnot, and you might actually get yourself into a little bit of a downtrend then again if you up it, which people just generally speaking don't really like. You're going to get more people to save and whatnot, which you don't really want. You want people to spend, specifically in times like this right now. You don't want high interest rates. You want them to be as low as possible, so people don't save the money, people spend as much, specifically in the time right now where people are scared of the future, as scared of the near future. People usually are either saving up as much or trying to just not spend too many frivolous and expensive things. They want to kind of counter that, which is why I think the entire system is skewed. But I don't know if it's officially fraud. I'm not exactly sure what the definition of that would be, but it's a skewed system. It's just pretty odd. Let's call it like that. Then Kyle McLean, and actually another guy here too, have posted up a couple of interesting things. Governments, central banks, and institutions have picked the crypto they'll use and invest in. This list is not exhaustive, but it's starting to take shape. XRP, XLM, DOT, Solana, VeChain, Algo, ADA, QNT, HBAR. Not surprising to me, well-trodden territory. Goldman Sachs right here, and the World Economic Forum right there. Let me quickly make clear, guys, I hold every single one of these cryptos for a very good reason. Why? Because I believe they're all solid projects, and the thing with crypto, in my opinion, is you can never really know which one is get the most amount of gains. You can only know, I guess for your own good, which cryptos will have a good shot of becoming big or which cryptos have a good shot of being adopted, but that does not ultimately determine the price. I've always said before, I think it's smart to have a good bag of different cryptos, and these are all ones that are pretty solid, and they're also talked about here. You guys were previously mocking me for not knowing CeLO or CeLO. Hey, all right, you also got to learn it in some way, shape, or form, and now you guys have really mocked me enough for it. I read myself into it a little bit, but here's a couple of different cryptos which you can see and a little talk about it. Some people said that they find it hard. Oh, it was here. That they find it hard to think of some cons for Ripple, because it said right here, somewhat centralized, needs an explanation. SEC lawsuit could be gone sooner rather than later. So we should see an update from Goldman Sachs with no cons in the near future. I don't think it really works that way. But the point was kind of funny that that's what the cons of it are. Then again, a lot of these ones are really not that negative. Immature is not a negative thing for a project. Small ecosystem, then again, is the same thing. I mean, both comes to the same thing, that it's new. You might actually turn around and make this a pro if you call it to be a newer system, so to speak. Here again, smaller ecosystem. All those are not necessarily cons, depending on how you look at it. You can also say, again, newer ecosystem, only been in there for like a year or so. You guys get the point I'm trying to make, right? This one, I guess, the real big negative one could be extremely low price because of huge fall after launching at $700 and now trading at like 40 or something like that. Then I saw this video right here. All right, by DLTA or DLT Alchemy, he posted it. It's actually a video from, let's see, whatever. You can see the name right there. I'm not exactly sure what the name is supposed to be. I laughed so hard, BTC is going to zero. It's actually a little small section with a freaking 40,000 views about him saying how Bitcoin is not that scalable and how Bitcoin really has no future, coming to a certain point, right? I'm not sure if he actually says Bitcoin has no future, but that's what some of the guys have been saying here. One thing I would like to argue with you guys is that Bitcoin, if you don't believe in it, that's completely fine, but I personally do. I personally also think it's smart to hold some. Then again, everybody's going to have a different opinion on that. I know that the way that people talk about Bitcoin sometimes is they say, oh, but Bitcoin is so fast to send transaction around. Bitcoin is not that good for paying with, yada, yada, yada. Even though that's supposedly what one of the use cases was in the past and one of the bigger ideas of recreating the financial system with a one currency Bitcoin, a decentralized ledger system, the first of its kind to spend, or to, I guess, fix the double spend problem. Even though it was an idea, it really didn't work out to be that way because it turned out to be more like gold, more like a commodity rather than a currency. And I would say that that's exactly the purpose that it's going to serve over the next couple of years, as it has a pretty scarce little, can you call it distribution? What do you call it? Scarce distribution, scarce. I don't know. It's a scarce project. Let's call it like that. And there's halvings, and in the way that it's going right now, there will keep getting less and less and less Bitcoins around in the distribution as well, in the circulation as well. Point being, well, I mean, you don't really have to be able to send it around the world 50,000 times a day. 50 million times a day. You don't need to use it for everyday transfers. Theoretically speaking, everybody who wants to use it for these huge transfers of money, or even small ones, will be able to do it. There isn't actually any really big scaling problem to Bitcoin, because you can never tell me that some transactions on Bitcoin cannot go. It's just about the fees getting ridiculously high or getting too competitive in the mining scene, for example. But in the end of things, no, you can never say that the transactions are not possible, because if the fee is high enough, they'll get prioritized, and so it can always work to some degree. Will it be efficient? Not at all. No. Definitely not. It will not be fast. It will not be nice. It will not be a nice experience, but it will work. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Bitcoin is still the head of the game. Has Bitcoin got longevity? Debatable. But since it's a store of value, more so than a payment token, it can definitely survive for a little while, right? And that's an important thing to distinct right there, that I think Bitcoin will do its job for the near future. And yeah, that's, I guess, the point there. That's what it kind of comes down to. Tighter regulation will boost cryptocurrencies by tackling unholy activity, a finance law professor says. Regulator will boost crypto by weeding out unholy criminal activity, a law professor has said. Emilios Arguelas said tougher rules may be bad for crypto prices in the short run. However, China is among the states cracking down on Bitcoin, while the US SEC is taking a close interest. Point being here, we saw the UK, we saw Canada, we saw Japan, we saw another place I've forgotten now the name of, kind of put up some, or Germany it was, put up some warnings for Binance, which is a start. We saw China and a couple of other countries over the last couple of months and years ban it, or at least put up some negative statements surrounding it. We saw the US right now putting up some close to a ban on XRP because, again, there's no trading allowed and there's a little bit of a question about the legitimacy of it. We saw it with some other smaller projects too and ICOs. It's coming to a certain conclusion. All it takes is a couple more months, if you were to ask me, for some significant rules to be made. And from that point forward, all of this will actually be positive things because, well, the argument that people have for being against Bitcoin or being against crypto is that there's a lot of criminal activity. If the regulations are proper, though, the criminal activity is so heavily diminished that that's also not one thing that people can really struggle with that much, or at least not bring up as an argument. Hype is over how NFTs and art will benefit from each other moving forward. Leaving the hype behind, NFTs coupled with the art market can significantly improve and even transform the art industry in many ways. I've talked to you guys before about NFTs, I'm a big fan, but the way that NFTs are going right now is just not good. All right, not good in the sense that you cannot sell an NFT, which is just a tweet, in my opinion, for millions of dollars when it's really not proven yet to us what exactly NFTs are based upon. Most people don't even know how they work and what the purpose of them should be. And the prices for NFTs are just ridiculously and way too high for the current maturity, so to speak, right? People are just buying it for the memes and for the jokes and for the fun. A lot of NFTs aren't worth as much, and even the Coinbase founder, one of the Coinbase founders, said 95% of them will die out and will become worthless. Most things people buy right now as NFTs are just stupid. One thing I would always say that's worth it as an NFT is, for example, art in the real fashion, like digital art like this. You can recreate it, yes, and I mean, everybody can have the same JPEG, but you have a certain specific number of art that you own, a specific creation, and that's almost the same as real art, right? Everybody can recreate that exact thing that you have for little of the fraction, but people buy that because it's a certain creator and it's a certain specific legitimate number. However, when buying a tweet, it starts to get a little bit more difficult because the one person could, theoretically speaking, sell that exact same tweet under a different number the exact same time without having to do any work, if you know what I mean. It's like you're not really changing anything, nothing's really going different, and that's the same thing for a lot of other NFTs. It really doesn't serve any purpose. It really doesn't serve as a good collectible because the creator still has all the control over what you're... It's a really difficult part to explain, I would say. But I would just say that most NFTs are just kind of dumb. But it will fix itself in due time, right? It will fix itself in due time. I mean, like buying houses in an NFT fashion is also interesting, but it will all mature. And then Bitcoin billionaire Mircea Popescu reportedly found not doing so good. A Bitcoin veteran crypto researcher and entrepreneur, Mircea reportedly drowned in Costa Rica. Not liking to hear that. I guess prayers go out, and I don't want to take this up too long. Let's just keep it for what it is. Let this man rest. And, well, I guess it's sad to see another crypto adopter, early crypto adopter that's extremely wealthy, most likely extremely influential go, but that's the way it sometimes goes. The man and the myth of the crypto community, Mircea, insisted he was the only person ever who owned 1 million Bitcoin. Well, I meant me of Satoshi, but all right, let's call it for what it is. Guys, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video. Also, check out 5 Minute Crypto, my second channel. All right, some of you guys are asking on that channel, like, is this you, Dusty? Yes, it is me. It's my second channel. Kind of acts as a backup, but also for stuff that I don't really post on this channel, just like most important crypto stuff. Go check it out. Link is down below. See you guys again in another one.